Greetings and salutations, friends! Today we have some new information from Space Hulk Tactics, an upcoming 40k tactical strategy game set, of course, aboard a Space Hulk. I'm quite looking forward to this because a couple of previous Space Hulk games have been a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, namely Space Hulk Ascension. It is the quote-unquote sequel, kinda, more like an enhanced edition, of the previous Space Hulk game, which was wonky as all hell, but incredibly charming in a strange way, and Ascension made it, well, still wonky as all goddamn hell, but even more charming. I loved the fact that it was such a dark game. It had almost a mild horror element to the tactical strategy, which I thought was really, really cool. And Space Hulk Tactics appears to be taking a lot of clues from this game, so I'm quite interested, and the best part is, it is looking 1,000 times more polished, particularly in the animations that are looking absolutely beautiful so far. But enough about that, let's actually get into this game, shall we? So, you can pick between 4 chapters, the Space Wolves, Ultramarines, Dark Angels, or Blood Angels, and you've also got 4 Hive fleets to pick between, because you can play the Genestealers, which is really, really cool. Unfortunately, it looks like you can only pick between 2 in the non-linear campaign. You can either be the Blood Angels or what appears to be Hive Fleet Leviathan. It would have been nice to be able to pick between all of them, but it is also possible that they have tailor-made the campaign specifically around these fleets, you know, adding in a little bit of special dialogue here and there, unique references, etc. In which case, okay, fair enough, decent trade-off. Plus, I wouldn't mind seeing some future expansions with new campaigns as well, since the campaign system seems to be quite expansive. It is a non-linear campaign where you move between various nodes aboard the Space Hulk. The Space Hulk is made up of what appears to be Imperial, Orc, and Eldar ships. At the very least, those are the ones available in the map editor. Sadly, no Chaos, which would have been hilarious. I mean, imagine all of the additional nonsense you could put aboard a Chaos ships. I wonder if there will be additional traps and dangers depending on the local environment. That'd be a really cool feature. If you're aboard an Orc ship, you have to worry about the fact that it might simply just fall apart randomly, because, well, Orc. Or if you're aboard an Eldar ship, perhaps you have to worry about secret passages disguised by holograms, stuff like that. Could be really cool. We should also have a quick look at the card system. So, this is a screenshot from the trailer showing a heavy weapons specialist. It would appear that he has 4 slots for cards. I don't know, of course, what the various numbers mean, but I'm assuming they have something to do with, for example, the cost of the card. So you could take, for example, a bunch of cheap cards, maybe 1 or 2 very expensive cards, and I'm assuming there's some cooldown on these various ones as well. You can see a little hourglass next to one of them. Perhaps some of the cards could only be used once during a mission, and perhaps some can be used multiple times, perhaps. Some of them are quite interesting too. Weapon maintenance. Target Terminator until next turn. It is immune to 1 jam in Overwatch. Now, the way this worked, at least in the old Space Hulk Ascension, was that the Tyranids had a lot more dudes than you, and they could simply keep charging at you down corridors. This meant that when you were moving through the Space Hulk, you had to This meant that when you were moving around in the Space Hulk, you had to continuously anchor your line of advance with Terminators carrying out Overwatch action down corridors and down certain bolt and hidey holes, so you could kill the little Genestealers before they could murder you most viciously. And once a Terminator was in Overwatch, he would simply just continue hosing down the area and killing as many Genestealers as he possibly could, with the only limiting factor being that his weapon would occasionally jam. This might then allow the Genestealers to build up huge numbers in an area and push their assault next turn, from a much better position where they might be a little bit closer to the Terminator and there might be a little bit more of them. It was a pretty damn interesting mechanic, and an ability that allows you to ignore 1 jam a turn. That would be pretty goddamn powerful. And you've also got some reasonably standard ones like a +1 to hit in melee or a +2 to hit with shooting attacks. I quite like this system. Basically, it's yet another level of customization for your squad, which is absolutely awesome. The Genestealers will also have a similar system, but they will not be tied to individual members of your horde, since of course the Genestealers will primarily be spawning shit tons of dudes at the Space Marines. Instead, maybe they would have cards that increase the spawn rate for a short amount of time, or as mentioned in the trailer, they would be able to spawn special Genestealers in special areas. Now, I'm a little bit worried that that might be a bit OP, since they saw one Genestealer simply just appear behind a Space Marine and kill him instantly, so that is probably going to require a bit of balancing, because this is a very, very volatile game. If a Genestealer gets into combat with your Terminator, and he's from the front, then you both roll a dice, and the Terminator has a decent chance to kill the Genestealer, whilst the Genestealer has a pretty small chance of outright killing the Terminator. Whereas if a Genestealer attacks the Terminator from behind, that is an instant kill. And since, of course, the Terminator player only has a few select troops, that can snowball really, really quickly. It's going to be very interesting to see how they're going to be balancing this in multiplayer, because I really love the idea of asymmetrical multiplayer, but I also think it is going to be an absolute bitch to balance. All that being said, though, I am really looking forward to this, because this looks really cool. I loved the old Space Hulk Ascension, so if they can basically make that game, except with an additional layer of tactical decision-making with the card system, and even better graphics, animations, and maybe even some kill cutscenes, oh yeah, I'm gonna be very, very happy with that. Finally, the game is scheduled to release at some point during 2018, so hopefully we will get our hands on it sooner rather than later, as I am very interested in playing that non-linear campaign. That looks like a lot of fun, especially with these new levels of customization and being able to play the Genestealers. There was also mentioned that all cards will be unlocked automatically for multiplayer, which is awesome, but that also makes me assume that there will be a progression system in the single-player campaign, which is really cool. I really like it in these tactics games when they give you new toys as you go, leveling up your dudes and stuff, because it gives you a real feeling of progression as you're going through the campaign, rather than just a series of kinda pointless skirmish missions. Finally, I have added a link to the trailer in the description below. You should definitely go have a look at it, as it gives you a lot of general information. And so, until next time, I have been Arch, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.